folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat. Just surviving, trying to do another wrestling review. I'm of course joined by my associate and fellow victim, Joe. You okay, Joe? As you can see, Joe's not feeling too good either. And why are you saying that we're not feeling too good? Because we just saw Impact. Yeah, I really had to suffer through this one. Spoonie, I don't know how you do it, but I commend you, sir, for being able to watch this week in and week out, as injured as you are. Anyway, as you've heard, as I've already said before, it's Impact time. It's Thursday night. So it's time for some Impact. And how can Impact make me sick and piss me off at the same time? Well, I got my notes. Let's read. Anderson comes out with a chair. He says that he will not move, and he wants to speak. He wants the person in charge to come out and give him his rematch, whether it be Dixie Carter, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Jeff Jarrett, or the network needs to come out and make this right by giving him his rematch that he was long so deserved. Then RVD comes out and he's like, dude, why did you screw me, man? I don't see how he could have screwed you, Anderson. I don't see how he could have screwed you, RVD, since he didn't see it. I mean, unless he actively the only way he could possibly screw you out of that title was if he actively low-blowed you instead of Jeff Hardy low-blowing you and then counting the 1, 2, 3. That's how you screw someone. He just didn't see it. Like, you know the old saying, if the ref doesn't see it, it's legal. Well, that's the thing here. He didn't see it, so I don't know what you're blaming him for. Soon they start coming to blows, and for some reason, TNA Security seems to be on their game tonight, as they just appeared in the ring almost immediately, opposed to the 3 hours it usually takes for them to get to the ring when something goes on. Then Immortal comes out, and here's a point of interest. For some reason or another, the network isn't calling the shots anymore. That's right, the mysterious network no longer exists in TNA. Apparently, Immortal now has all the power back. I take offense to this for a reason. Someone asked me on the CBR forums, I won't mention his name, but he knows who he is if he's watching this, asked me why am I getting so upset at this. The reason is simple. Because it's bad writing. TNA has contradicted itself 2 weeks in a row. Why, you ask? Simple. Okay, the basic premise is that Immortal stole the company from Dixie Carter several months ago with their They storyline. They are the ones in charge. Hogan and Bischoff are now the owners of the company. They have absolute power in the company. They own everything in the company. Now last week, the network called and said they wanted a title match between Jeff Hardy and RVD. Now this kind of undermines the whole titles equal power thing when the network, a faceless entity that has never once made its presence known in the entire time that TNA has been on Spike TV, all of a sudden comes out of the blue and says we want a title match and it's not kosher for Anderson to be champion because we want a fan-friendly champion, a friendlier champion, not someone who curses, someone who does drugs. Yeah, that's you, Hardy. But now it's back to we have all the power and we can make whatever match we want. This doesn't make sense. TNA literally has roped themselves into a corner. How can Eric Bischoff claim to have all the power and then lose it the next week and then regain it again from the network? And that same person also brought up the fact that it was not the same because when Eric Bischoff was in TNA, was in WWE, Vince and Stephanie often overrounded his powers. Okay, let's get something straight. This is totally different. Vince McMahon is one of the founders and owner of the WWE. He owns the whole company. This has been widely known since the mid-90s when he was outed as the owner of the company. He owns everything. He owns SmackDown, he owns Raw, he owns all the pay-per-views to do with as he sees fit. He owns Tough Enough, NXT, and ECW back when it was sucky. So he can do pretty much whatever he wants. Sure, there were GMs who were in charge of the individual brands, but at any time he can just come in and overwrite whatever they say because he owns the company. That's his prerogative. Now this is so messed up to me because of the simple fact that it would be like if the Raw general manager all of a sudden said, Miz, you need to have a title match. I don't think you should have a title match, but the USA Network decided that you needed to wrestle because you equal ratings. I have no power whatsoever to stop them. It doesn't make sense, but of course, this is TNA. Logic is lost on them. Anyway, Eric annoyingly says that tonight it will be a #1 contenders match between Anderson, RVD, and Kurt Angle. You smell that? You smell shenanigans. Alright. Next we have the Jarretts are picking out their clothes for next week's their vows next week. Somebody kill me, please. Next we get an interview with Kurt pretty much saying that screw the Jarretts, I don't care about them. They can take a walk off a short pier and they can eat a dick for all I care. And you know he's gonna do something crazy at the wedding next week, so there's no suspense. Next we have a tag match between Orlando Jordan and Eric Young versus Gunner and Murphy. Then Beer Money comes out and they pretty much spend the most of the match hyping up Gunner and Murphy because next week Gunner and Murphy have title shots against them. Why? Why does a team that has only recently become a tag team, who has probably one match under their belt as a tag team, why do they have to get an automatic title shot? What happened to Inc? What happened to the Young Bucks? Anyway, this was pretty much a squash match. Even though Eric pretty much got his act together and was wrestling properly tonight with a little bit of comedy involved, it was a squash match. Gunner and Murphy completely destroyed them. Congratulations, you beat a guy with brain damage and a bisexual guy. You get a title shot. The beautiful people are backstage and they talk about how Velvet Sky is going to risk her career in a match against Sarita. Remember? Well, I'll get to that later. Devon comes out and he says he wants to apologize to his son and his family for what Bubba did for getting his kids involved in that match. Then in the middle of his promo, Bully Ray interrupts, and I will tell you this much. I enjoy Bubba Ray's heel work right now. He's probably the most convincing heel out of the entire company, and that's including Fortune. So I'm very much enjoying his work. He's beat up a black guy, and he pretty much is saying, well, you're nothing but a loser. Your kids are losers, and I'm gonna put this guy to a table because my Sith Lord Kevin Steen told me so. That's right. He's the Sith apprentice of the Antichrist of wrestling, Kevin Steen. So just when he's about to put the guy through the table, in comes Tommy Dreamer. Surprisingly dry-eyed Tommy Dreamer, but Tommy Dreamer nonetheless. And he's beating him up, and they come out to the impact zone. Bubba joins in. Devon joins in and accidentally hits Tommy in the face with a punch, and that takes him. That he's down for good. And Tommy Dreamer is one of the toughest bastards in professional wrestling, and he goes down to an errant punch. I'm surprised he didn't cry. Anyway, let's see. Madison Rayne, the woman of 1,000 gimmicks, talks about she has an open challenge tonight for anyone in the back. And she says that she doesn't need her lesbian lover Tara's help, nor does she need her loaded glove. So now she's the woman of 999 gimmicks for tonight. Well, 998 gimmicks. Well, 997. Damn, that's a lot. Next match is a returning Magnus, the Mac Daddy, I like him, versus Crimson. Now this is Crimson's first one-on-one match, and I have to say he looked excellent in the match. He looked pretty good. Good speed, good ring technique. He had a lot of power in his movements, and he pretty much destroyed Magnus. My question, the only problem I have with this is, why bury Magnus? Why bring him back at all if you're going to bury him? There are a lot of jobbers in TNA that they could use to make Crimson look good. Brutus Magnus is not one of them. I mean, what, does TNA have something against the Brits now? I mean, last week we had Douglas Williams getting fed to Hernandez, and now we got Magnus being destroyed by friggin' Crimson. What's up with that? Next we have the pose off between the Freak Rob Terry and Big Papa Puff Scott Steiner. Rob Terry comes out in his with this little exercise thing on, speedos, barefoot, ready to pose off. Am I having bad flashbacks of Steiner versus Triple H in a pose off? Ugh. Anyway, he picks up a mic and, good God, is this guy green? No, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I like Rob Terry. It's just that he's green. He needs time, and it's far too early for him to be talking because it's bad. Scott Steiner comes out and shows him how to cut a promo. The only way Scott Steiner knows how. Completely insane. He says that he's insulting to calling himself the genetic freak when Scott earned that title over years. So Scott prepares to walk off when Rob says, "Just like an American running and hiding from Brits." So Scott's ire gets popped up, so Big Papa Pump gets ready to pose up and get his swole on when he gets attacked from behind by Rob Terry and gets choked out for his trouble. It's pretty brutal, but I'm not really looking forward to a match between these two. That's what they're building up to, I guess. Let's see. Another backstage segment with more beautiful people as Sky and Winter talk, and Velvet Sky makes it in no certain words that once she's done with Sarita, she's coming after her ass. Next, more Karen and Jeff. I want to murder them in the worst possible way. I want to put a bag over Karen's head and a clear plastic bag and watch so I can watch her suffocate and anything to end this. The only good part about this little segment is that the priest has the sense enough to actually call out the stupidity and insanity of this. If you put your children's custody on the line in a wrestling match, now you have your ex-husband to give you away. This is blasphemy! Thank you, Father. I'll never say anything bad about the Catholic Church ever again. Next up, Ric Flair comes out, and he relieves my pain like a good glass of BC headache powder. And of course, he cuts a promo saying, "I'm God. I'm God. There are two gods. One up there, one down here. In this ring, I'm God. When you get in this ring, I'm God. I'm God. You watch yourself, baby. I'm coming for you later tonight. I'm God. I'm God. I'm God." Then AJ Styles comes in the ring, and he cuts a decent promo saying that the reason he didn't look at him all night is because he wanted to fight every urge in his body to kick the crap out of Rick. But he does anyway, as Rick slaps him, which earns him a beating from AJ Styles. And then for some reason, Supermax decides to come in. The Latino Pride Supermax, who doesn't want to be under the white man's heel, came to Ric Flair's help, to aid. Why? Is he part of Immortal now? It's never explained. Even Mike Tenay and Taz were confused. Anyway, AJ is able to fight him off, and he pretty much strips and beats Ric Flair into bloodiness. which isn't that hard since a stiff wind will cause Ric Flair to bust open. Just when he's about to get the Styles Clash to Ric Flair, Supermax comes in and attacks him. Then the rest of Fortune come out and chase them off. Rick is pretty much almost naked and bloody, and just as Supermax is running off, Matt Morgan jumps him and beats him up, saying that it isn't over between the two of them. No. Overall, this is probably one of the most enjoyable segments of Impact I've seen in a long time. I liked it, mostly because it has Fortune and it has Ric Flair. You can't go wrong. And also because Supermax finally got what's coming to him. And I hope Matt Morgan beats his ass. Next up, Madison Rayne comes out for her open challenge. And this is the one part of TNA that really surprised me. Out comes ODB. Yeah! Boo! That's right, that one dirty bitch is back in TNA, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a good match, and unbelievably enough, there was no shenanigan. There was nothing, no cheating, no loaded glove, no lesbian lover terror outside. As far as I saw, my cable was messing up at the time. Madison Rayne won this clean, so I'm kind of enjoying it. If they bring back more knockouts for this angle, more power to them. I'm enjoying it. Backstage, Velvet Sky confronts Sarita and her cousin Rosita, and saying that she will agree to put her career on the line, which she already agreed last week. That's right, she agreed. She had to remind herself, Sarita, her cousin, and the fans that she agreed. So Sarita's like, okay, Chica, you got some balls, so I'll agree. I'll do this for you, baby. No, my cousin's gonna stay back. No in the words of Spoonie, no shenanigans. As soon as she leaves, while the camera's still on them, she says probably one of the strangest and most weirdest lines I've ever heard a woman say in professional wrestling. She says, and I'm quoting here, I'm gonna screw that bitch so hard, she's not gonna walk straight for a week. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know if she meant that literally or figuratively. I think TNA's going with a lesbian angle with this. I don't know. It's just disturbing. We get another Jarrett angle. And right now, I am so sickened and pissed that, look, this is what I wrote for the angle. This is what all I wrote for it, for this whole thing, right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill. That's how I was feeling when they showed Jeff and Karen again. I wanted to murder them, kill them, and death them. Murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill. We go on to the main event. Mr. Anderson versus RVD versus Kurt Angle, #1 contenders match. And I will say this is probably the best match of the night. This is probably the best match Impact has had in months. I was generally enjoying this match. All three of these guys I am fans of, and they really gave us a good match. They gave us a nice, solid 15-20 minute match. And depending on that, it was just back and forth, a nice good triple threat. You didn't know who was going to win. They were all pretty good. Then, as Kurt Angle was going for an ankle lock on Mr. Anderson, we get Here Comes the Bride. Karen and Jeff come out, dressed in their wedding attire. Champagnes in hand, come out, and they start kissing. Calm down, Joe. Calm down. I'm just as pissed off as you are. I'm not pissed that Anderson won, which he did. I'm just pissed that they would bring this crap into a great match. Why can't you just have a straight fucking match, TNA? You could have just left it at that. You could just let Anderson win and could have left it at that and and just leave this whole marriage bullshit line. But no. We're total non-stop action. We got to do what everyone else does, what the WWE doesn't do, because we're constantly competing with them. So we're going to bring this shitty storyline into a great match. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna go out into the night, and any unlucky person, whether it be man, woman, child, or dog, I'm going to pretend that they are Karen and Jeff Jarrett, and then I'm going to kill them. I'm going to beat them within an inch of their lives, and I'm going to run them over with a car, and then I don't know what else I'm going to do, but it will end with them being killed and brutally maimed before I return home to go to sleep, because that's what that little segment did to me. It made it. Why, TNA? Why? And if that wasn't enough, the whole show ends with one of the most obvious rip-off parodies I have ever seen in my life. It's black and white. It's dark. It's raining. Buildings. It's footsteps. And then suddenly 3-3-11 pops up, scrolls on the screen. Reminds you of anything? That's low, TNA. That is scuzzy right there. You're not even hiding the fact that you're copying off of Undertaker's return on Raw. That's dirty pool. You know, and you wonder why TNA lost the so-called Monday Night Wars 2. So anyway, that was Impact. My verdict, I would say it was bad, but the last match, the AJ Flair angle, the AJ Flair storyline that happened in the middle, and the return of ODB kind of bumped it up from bad to being from shit bad to just being regular bad. It's watchable at points, but still bad. Yeah, it's like eating weak oat. It's like sour milk. You know, it's bad, but you can still use it. I mean, my mother uses sour milk to make cornbread, and it tastes pretty good. It's sour milk, but it is still usable. That's what this Impact was. And Joe agrees with me. He likes sour milk. Well, that's Impact. A little announcement. Tomorrow I will not be doing a review of SmackDown because I will be out on the town. I'm going to the movies and seeing a lady friend. Yeah. So I won't be able to do a review of SmackDown because I could just read the spoilers and just do a review from there, but that's not how I do it. I like to watch and then review. That's how I do. So anyway, that was Impact. And now I'm going to go out and I'm going to go murder someone. Thank you, TNA. This is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe, saying goodnight. Wrestle on.